Hello, welcome to Revenant Reads. I'm Vin, and this is the 50 Questions You've Never Been Asked tag. So I was tagged by Mark over at Book Time with Elvis in this. I am not sure who the originator is. It seems like it was originally created for blog users. But I believe that Mark had seen this on Steve's channel, and it was an old video that Steve had done a few years ago. So it's kind of being revived, and Mark was kind enough to tag me in this. So we'll go through these kind of quickly. You can see my voice is a little more echoey. I'm in my empty book room because all my books are all packed up into boxes. So I'm going to kind of go through this quickly. It's also very, very hot in this room right now. It doesn't have any kind of air conditioning, and it is a hot day out. So let us begin. First question: what's your favorite candle scent? I don't know. I tend to like earthy type candle scents, kind of piney. Some that smells, even if it's very artificial, like the outdoors. Although I often will burn incense rather than candles. I really like Nag Champa. That's probably my favorite thing to burn for a scent. Uh, which so these next two I can kind of answer, I guess, together. Which female celebrity do you wish were your sister? And number three, which male celebrity do you wish were your brother? I don't care. If they're rich and obscenely generous with their wealth, they're fine. Yeah, I'll take them. How old do you think you'll be when you marry? Well, I guess this is for young bloggers. Well, I'm married. I've been married for I think about 14 years now, 14 to 15 years. Been with my wife for over 22 now years. So I'm way past that part. Do you know someone who is a hoarder? No, I don't think so. I know people who collect a lot, but I don't think a collector and a hoarder are the same thing. From my understanding, a hoarder will collect things but then not take care of them. Basically, just let them rot. But a collector will actually take care of things. So I don't know anybody who is actually a hoarder, but I do know a lot of collectors. 6, can you do splits? Definitely not on purpose. How old were you when you learned to bike? I don't know, probably around 5 or 6, I'm guessing. I did a lot of biking when I was young. I grew up in at least from the time I was like 10 or 11, I grew up in a pretty large condominium complex, which was almost like its own little town. So there were all kinds of roads and streets and woods all around that I would ride bikes in. So I did a lot of bike riding. How many oceans have you swum in? I guess just one, just the Atlantic Ocean. I've been on the Pacific Ocean, but I didn't go swimming in it. I was off the coast of Ecuador, but I didn't swim in there. So only one ocean. And how many countries have you visited? So I gotta do math. Been to France, Italy, Hungary, Spain, Bermuda, Canada, Ecuador, Bahamas. I guess that counts, right? So I guess eight, I think. 10, is anyone in your family in the Army? Not anymore. Most of my family was actually mostly Navy. I had a grandfather who was in a submarine in World War II, another grandfather who was in the Marines during the Korean War, and my brother was in the Navy, but he's been out for a few years now. What would you name your daughter if you had one? Well, I had one. I named her Lillian. Lily for short. What would you name your son if you had one? I had one, and his name is Benjamin. What's the worst grade you got on a test? No, I've always tested pretty well. I did get a bad grade. I had a really weird professor my freshman year. It was an English professor. And I remember she took off points because the paper that I printed my essay out on wasn't quality enough. Because I had like an old printer that took older type of paper. And she took points off of that. So that was probably the worst that I did as far as a class is concerned. I don't remember exactly what my grade was, but it wasn't very good in that class. But I think that was only maybe partly my fault. I'm not sure what was going on with her. Number 14, what was your favorite TV show as a kid? As a kid, that would probably be He-Man. I loved He-Man. That was my jam growing up. What did you dress up as for Halloween when you were 8? Probably He-Man. It's probably what it was. I know I had a Beastman costume at one point when I was young. One of those really, back in the 80s, we didn't have the awesome costumes like kids have today. You had like just the plastic mask that would go on and a vinyl costume that would be all torn up and shredded by the time you got to the third house. But I know I was Beastman when I was young, so that might be something. 16. Have you read any Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Twilight? I read all the Harry Potters, all the Hunger Games. I think I opened up Twilight one time, and that's about it. I have read those, and I enjoy Harry Potter and Hunger Games. I'm not a huge fan of either of them, but I enjoyed them for what they were. 17. Would you rather have an American or British accent? I'm okay with my American accent, especially my very Connecticut accent. I don't always speak with great erudition. Probably because I have an extra tooth on the bottom over here, so makes my S's a little bit weird sometimes because I got a little bit of crowding there because I have a tooth that is one too many. And I've always hated the idea of them pulling out perfectly healthy teeth, so I just never had that done. But I like my American accent. I'm perfectly fine with that. I said, I was saying Connecticut, it's very, I think as far as accents are concerned, it's a fairly neutral American accent. I remember hearing at one point that Hollywood did kind of base the kind of neutral American accent on Connecticut. I don't know, I've never got that entirely confirmed, but I can kind of believe it. A lot of actors, not necessarily today, but I think in old Hollywood, if they had an accent, they were often taught to speak more like somebody from like our area, Connecticut. So I've been told before that, when people hear my accent, that I talk like the movies. That's probably why. 18. Did your mother go to university? No, I was the first person in my family to go to any sort of college. 19. Are your grandparents still married? They're all dead. One set was married when they passed away still. My another grandfather, he was divorced when he passed away. And my grandmother on that side, she died when my mother was like 7, so I never got to meet her. 20. Have you ever taken karate lessons? Not really. I did mimic a lot of Bruce Lee films when I was a kid, in front of the mirror, so I don't know if that counts. 21. Do you know who Kermit the Frog is? Yes, I do. I watched a lot of Muppets growing up, Muppets Take Manhattan, The Muppet Show, so yes, I'm very familiar with the Muppets. 22. What was the first amusement park you visited? We have one in Western Connecticut, a small one called Quasi. That's probably the one that I went to the most when I was a kid. I've been to larger ones also when I was a kid, but that was probably, I'm sure, the first one they brought me to because there's a lot of little kid rides there. It's a nice little amusement park. 23. Which language you'd like to be fluent in? I don't know. My mind automatically goes to like dead languages. There's my dog barking. I'd love to know Latin, or I think it'd be great fun to know like Old Norse or Old English, even though it would be absolutely useless to me in life. But I know a little bit of German. Maybe I'd like to know French, so I can actually read some of the great original works in French. That'd be fun. And I also am horrible at pronouncing French. I never took a French class, so that's probably why I'm thinking that. I can make up for my terrible lack of French knowledge. 24, do you spell it Gray, Gray, or Grey, Gray? I spell it with an E, and then usually Microsoft Word or Google Docs will tell me it's wrong and want to change it on me. 25, is your father bald? He has thin hair, but he's not completely bald. It's definitely thin on the top. 26, do you know triplets? I know a triplet. I don't know all 3. 27, do you prefer Titanic or The Notebook? I think I saw The Notebook maybe once. Didn't really do it for me. I love Rachel McAdams. I guess Titanic. At least I get to see a ship go down and all kinds of chaos. And Kate Winslet is easy on the eyes on that one, absolutely. So I guess Titanic. 28. Have you ever had Indian food? Yes, I love Indian food. Um, 29. What's the name of your favorite restaurant? We have one in our area that I really like called the White Horse. It's kind of like English pub variation or inspired, but it has great outdoor seating next to a river. There's all kinds of historical relics all over the place. There's like a 3,000-year-old bronze ring next to a receipt that was signed by Charles Dickens, and then you can go eat at a 500-year-old table. So it's cool, and the food is also really good, and they have a good drink menu. 29. 30. That's right. Have you ever been to Nando's? I have no idea what that is. No. 31. Do you belong to any warehouse stores? I've shopped at Costco. What would your parents, should be have named you if you'd been the opposite gender? I don't know. I know that my parents used to mess with people when my mother was pregnant with me, and they'd say that if I was a girl, they were going to name me Chichi Lola. That was just a joke, just to make their parents upset. But I don't know what they really would have named me if I was a girl. What's your nickname, Vin? 31. Who's your favorite person in the world? That would be my kids, I guess. They're my favorite people. 35. Would you rather live in the country or the city? I really like the country. I like the quiet. I like nature, and I like being near forests and on mountains. But ideally, I would love to also have like an apartment in a city or something, and just be in a city like a few months out of the year, and then spend the rest of the time in the country. I like the convenience of cities. I like the culture and museums, but I wouldn't want to live there permanently. I definitely prefer overall the country. 36. Can you whistle? Yep. 37. Do you sleep with a nightlight? No, I like my room as dark as possible, actually. 38. Do you eat breakfast every morning? Excuse me. No, most mornings I don't, especially if I'm working. I actually work better in the morning on an empty stomach. I find that after I've had lunch, I start feeling more tired. So I'm more motivated sometimes when I'm hungry. And often when I wake up, I don't feel like eating. Like I just feel like, I don't know. I'd rather just have I have like an iced coffee, and that's about it in the morning. So no, I'm not a big morning person. Not if I want to get going. Let me see. 39. Do you take any daily pills or medication? And the next one is, what medical condition do you have? I don't take anything. I have a thyroid I have to watch. A little bit of a hypothyroidism, but I'm not going to get any deeper on that details. How many times have you been to the hospital? For myself, I think when I was a kid, you can kind of, I don't know if you see it. I don't even know which eye it was. Maybe it was that. I was running one time on a trail when I was a kid, and I tripped over a rock and hit my head on another rock, and I had to get stitches. But I was pretty young. But otherwise, I've been to the hospital for other people, and of course the birth of my kids. Have you ever seen Finding Nemo? Yes, I have. It's perfectly fine. Not my favorite Pixar, but it's fine. Where do you buy your jeans? Where I can get them cheap. I don't spend a lot of money on clothes. What's the last compliment you got? I don't know. I often have very nice people commenting on videos, which I always appreciate. Thank you to those people. But I don't specifically know which was the most recent one. 45. Do you usually remember your dreams in the morning? Most of the times I do. My wife is sometimes jealous of my dreams because I can get very adventurous with my dreams, where I'm like a secret agent, or like I've got like special powers, and I'm going on this big adventure, and I can like kind of remember the plot. Those are a lot of fun. Sometimes I lately I've been having a lot of dreams where like something happens to my kids, and I wake up and I can't go back to sleep again. It takes me a long time to get back. Like my kid is missing or something. I'm hoping those sort of dreams die down and stop. But yeah, I often will have very fun dreams, and tell them to my wife the next morning that she's angry at me. 46. What flavor tea do you enjoy? I don't know if this is influenced by Jean-Luc Picard, but I do often drink Earl Grey. I do like that. And I do like unsweetened iced tea. So I sometimes will have that if we go out to like breakfast at a diner. How many pairs of shoes do you currently own? I've got like an everyday pair. I have a pair to mow the lawn. And I guess like dress shoes, maybe 3 pairs. That's it. Oh no, hiking boots I guess also count, so maybe 4. What religion would you raise your children to practice? I am not raising my children with religion at all. I am not a believer, neither is my wife. We will allow them to ultimately make their own decision. A kid, as far as we're concerned, is not religious. They are just brought up with a religion. They're not old enough to really decide if they're religious. But no, we do not practice in our household at all. The next one I'm gonna skip because reading that one out loud, I might have little ears near me in the next room who are listening. That's always a possibility. So I'm not gonna read that one out loud and answer that. And then the last one, why do you have a blog? Well, I actually do have blogs. I have 2 blogs that I haven't written for in a while. I've got Revenant Review, which is where I was reviewing horror films and writing about horror films. And then there was another one that was called Scabs and Other Things I Picked At, where I was just starting to put other stuff up that just didn't fit anywhere else online. The booktube channel has largely replaced the blogs, and that was by design. I wanted to free up my writing for more creative endeavors. I wanted to get back into writing fiction and poetry and not feel obligated to write movie reviews. And I don't regret any of that time. Those were great to write. I had a fun time writing for that. It created some opportunities for me. But I also co-host a horror movie discussion podcast called the Horror Cast. So I get to talk horror movies there. I get to talk books here. The things that I was generally blogging about, I have replaced with other mediums. So I still always leave links to those blogs if people want to check them out, but I haven't written for them in a while. I still have some things that I could put on them, and I'll do that at some point, but it's just not a priority right now. And that is it. Those are the 50 questions you've never been asked tag. I want to thank Mark from Book Time with Elvis for tagging me in this. Definitely some interesting questions in there. So anyway, as always, thank you, BookTube.